What's going on, Washington fans? Welcome to Taking Command with Josh Taylor here on YouTube. And I reached out to y'all on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB if you don't follow me already. And I said, do y'all want a video talking about the undrafted free agents that Washington signed? And of course, as loyal diehard fans that you are, you said, yes, Josh, give us all the content on the draft, undrafted free agents, whatever you got. So, of course, I'm going to be doing some more breakdowns across these next few weeks as I start moving to Texas. But also I'm going to start going into a deep dive on these undrafted free agents. So today I'm going to catch you up and give you my 5 most impactful undrafted free agents in my opinion. So I figured I might as well start out by bringing up the full list because Washington actually signed a good bit of players. There's some sneaky names on here, but I'm going to go over the 5 most impactful in my opinion. So starting from the top, we got KaSmir Allen from UCLA, speedy wide receiver. We have another wide receiver, Zion Bowens out of Hawaii. Offensive line, Mason Brooks out of Ole Miss. Quarterback, Tim DeMorat out of Fordham. Safety, Xavier Henderson, very interesting name, out of Michigan State. Big-time guy who had some injuries. D-end, Joshua Pryor, the HBCU, Bowie State there. Wide receiver, Jalen Sample out of Minnesota State. Safety, Kendall Smith, another Illinois DB. Corner, DJ Sturgis out of Missouri Western, I want to say it is. And then wide receiver, Mitch Tinsley out of Penn State. Wide receiver, Bryson Tremaine out of Stanford. And rounding it out with corner, Nick Whiteside out of Saginaw Valley. So a couple small schools, some HBCU names, some more noticeable names. Some underrated guys you might not know. But on this list, I've got 5 guys that I think might only just, not make the team, but also have an impact. And this is the guys I'm watching as camp goes on, these position battles, and, of course, as the roster cuts down. The thing to think about in all of this is a new coach team. This is a new, especially on offense, Eric Bieniemy is going to be refreshing, kind of giving it his own makeover, his own look in some of these things. So just keep that in mind. Most of the guys on my team, honestly, all but one, are on offense. So let's start out with a guy that a lot of people have been talking about on Twitter, saying like, hey, I think this guy fills a really big hole on our team. And that is KaSmir Allen out of UCLA, the speedy 5'8", 175-pound wide receiver. In 36 games, he has 80 catches for 762 yards, 7 touchdowns. Also 68 rushes for 550 yards and 4 touchdowns. And more importantly, 39 kick returns for 1,054 yards and 1 touchdown. He's a former high school track athlete and scored 72 touchdowns his senior season in high school, which is absolute bonkers. Washington had 0 special team touchdowns last year. Gibson had 21 returns on kickoff for 486 yards, while Milne had 15 returns for only 300 yards. Punts, we're looking at 40. For 7 yards per return for Dax Milne with 0 touchdowns. So, main thing to think about is Eric Bieniemy, the things he could do with a guy like this. Like I said, 5'8", 175, kind of like a faster version of Curtis Samuel, smaller, but still that gadget kind of offensive guy. Like I can play wide receiver. I can do some things at running back. I can do end arounds, jet sweeps, but then also give me some screens when I'm out in space. I can make things happen. So he's a depth piece. So in my opinion, he is an upgrade over a Dax Milne on the roster, not only in the receiving game and the running game, but more importantly on kickoff return, where Washington has really been dying to have that. So in my opinion, I think Allen is a lock, but I think he has a really good chance of being someone that Eric Bieniemy looks at and says, look, this guy is shifty. He's quick. He's hard to tackle. He can find lanes and get them quickly. And he fills a big hole on special teams. A lot of these guys, trying to make teams, get into camps, they're like, look, this is what I can do for you on special teams. And then also being a depth, guy, whether it's offense or defense. I think KaSmir Allen has the speed that Eric Bieniemy is going to love on his offense. So next up, another need going into the draft, and Washington drafted 2 of them. That's offensive line, and they go with Mason Brooks out of Ole Miss, who transferred from Western Kentucky. Before that, he was a first-team All-Conference USA at Western Kentucky in 2021, transferred to Ole Miss for his senior season, played left guard and right tackle, played all 13 games for Ole Miss and kind of moved around that line. And he actually had a PFF grade of an 83.4 overall blocking, which was 11th by all tackles in 2021. And for Washington, John Keim came out and said him and one other player that I'll talk about were top priorities for Washington when it came to undrafted free agent signings. He was at the top of the list with another guy that I'm going to talk about soon. And of course, with, the experience that he had, he has a high upside to him. I think he fills out more as a guard at the next level. Maybe he can play tackle, but I feel more comfortable with him being at maybe like a right guard, which I think is where Washington's really hurting at. Because we look at the depth chart for Washington. This is what the right guard spot looks like. And it just depends on a lot of what ifs. So we have Sam KaSmir, drafted second round to be a right tackle, really athletic, somewhat smaller arms, kind of struggled at the right tackle spot. So they said they're going to move him into right guard. What if he doesn't look good there? You have a safety blanket and a Mason Brooks who played at a high level at that position. And he played at a high level at right tackle as well, so he can swing out if he needs to. Same with Andrew Wiley. So in my opinion, I kind of think of this as like an Andrew Wiley guy. He can play right guard, he can play right tackle, and play at a pretty high level. So you have Sam KaSmir, potentially right guard one right now. Sadiq Charles, who shown some good, but still just haven't seen enough to say, hey, this is a future guy on the team. And then Keaton Sutherland. So I'm talking three guys on right guard that I don't feel comfortable with. One, because I haven't seen Sam KaSmir at the right guard spot. Two, I haven't really seen Sadiq Charles provide anything. And then the third guy, I don't even know who he is. So I think Mason Brooks was a top priority for this reason, because Washington wants to build that offensive line, and they know what the value they have in Mason Brooks. This might be a need to some people it's not. But I think this guy is very underrated. This is a guy that was getting talked about by a lot of fan bases. Like, hey, I want him on our team. And that is quarterback Tim DeMorat. Out of Fordham. He's 6'3", so he's a bigger quarterback. He's got a cannon of an arm. In his career, he completed 61% of his passes on 1,685 throws for 13,461 yards, 123 touchdowns, and only 39 interceptions. In 2022, he lit it up. Like, this dude went out with a bang. He had 4,891 yards and 56 touchdowns. First team AP FCS All-American, three-time Patriot League Offensive Player of the Year. And like I said, he has a cannon of an arm. He should easily be quarterback 3. Super durable, played in 48 of 51 games in college. So he's a big body wide receiver. He was at the Hula Bowl, I want to say, and he had this one deep throw for a touchdown where it just flicked his wrist, went right down the field. You got to think about that quarterback 3 spot. It's between him and Jake Fromm, a.k.a. the guy who did the quarterback sneak on like fourth or third and long or whatever with the Giants, but it's back in the end zone. So in my opinion, I think that Tim DeMorat out of Fordham is a quarterback that's really intriguing. Yeah, I know it's an FCS level. I get it. But still, this is a guy that a lot of fan bases are like, hey, I would not mind bringing in Tim and competing for these backup spots. Obviously, he's not better than Jacoby Brissett or Sam Howell, but a really good, productive, experienced quarterback 3 in today's league, where you have teams like the 49ers in the playoffs were like, hey, we're down to Josh Johnson. I think that's valuable. So I think he, in my opinion, is a clear lock to be quarterback 3. I think he was another guy. The Jets invited him over, and he decided to sign with Washington, so that's good. Could have went over there and learned from Aaron Rodgers and rookie mini camps. And had a chance to possibly make the team as quarterback 3. But here, I think he has a much better chance at being that third quarterback on the roster. Like I said, I really like his game. He needs to work on a couple of accuracy things like tight window throws. Sometimes he got to force his things. But other than that, this guy can get it deep down the field. Super excited to see this guy sling it in training camp. And rounding out, we got 2 more left. This guy was the other top priority for Washington. I've talked to him a couple times already since he signed with us. He's super hyped to be here, and that is Kendall Smith out of Illinois. And everyone says, Josh, who is this guy? We know that secondary for Illinois was dangerous. How good is this guy? So he's a safety at Illinois. This is another top priority, said Keim, him and Mason Brooks. He's a 1-year starter. I say, all right, that might be a little bit of a red flag. He only started 1 year, but he had 5 interceptions last year. Very rangy and instinctive, exactly how I described him. There's one interception against Minnesota where he was quick to go sideline to sideline. I think he was single high safety on the play, and he had no trouble cutting it off, getting where he needed to be, getting an easy interception. And he projects as a free safety at the next level. He's a former wide receiver, so he has great hands, great instincts, and he has an excellent change of direction to him. I love his speed. Love his change of direction. But he didn't play because before that, they had Kirby Joseph, who was one of my favorite guys last year, goes to the Lions. He had a really good rookie season, just a baller in Kirby Joseph. That secondary at Illinois is insane the last few years. The last 2 years, they've been pushing out nothing but NFL talent. Kind of reminds me like Alabama back in the day. So he gets his chance finally. What does he do the first year? He gets 5 interceptions. I think this guy is a legit gem at the next level. I think he projects, like I said, to be that free safety. So I think right now at the free safety spot, there's a couple things you can move around, obviously. Do we keep 5 safeties? I don't know. But I think with him on special teams as well, I think he's going to be listed. Quan Martin, his teammate's going to be listed as the nickelback. He's not going to be listed as a safety. So I'm not including him in that safety list. So I think for that reason, Wild Goose is probably out. Nickelback, we've got Danny Johnson and now Quan Martin at that nickelback spot. It's like, it's so weird saying Nickelback. I don't mean the band. It's Nickelback on the field. So I think Kendall Smith takes over one of those safety spots. I guess technically Bobby McCain was listed as a safety last year. He plays some nickel too as well. So maybe he just takes his roster spot. And then you have 5 safeties with Reeves, Curl, Percy Butler, Forrest, and then Kendall Smith is my opinion. That's the 5 going. I think that was it right there. Don't have a depth chart in front of me. So that's the 5 I'm running with safety-wise because, like I said, Kendall can play special teams like Reeves does. So big need on special teams as well. And like I said, I think he's one of the sleepers of the undrafted free agents. A lot of people had him getting drafted. Kind of surprised that he didn't. And my last pick in the top 5, another guy that surprised the heck out of me that he didn't get drafted. I love this guy. You see the flag behind me. I've got the helmet over there. And that's my guy, Mitch Tinsley out of Penn State. And I did not pick him. Repeat, disclaimer. I did not pick Mitch because I covered Penn State and he went to Penn State. I genuinely am a giant Mitchell Tinsley fan. This guy is exactly what Ron Rivera loves. This is the kind of player Eric Bieniemy would absolutely drool over. Character-wise, he is flawless. He is one of the most genuine, smartest guys I've ever talked to and interviewed player-wise. You can just tell when someone's real. He started out at Hutchinson Community College for 2 years. Then he went to Western Kentucky, lit it up at Western Kentucky. Then he transferred to Penn State. And, I talked to him at the Rose Bowl. At the end of the season, like, hey, man, like, looking back on your career, like, what did you get out of this? Like, what do you think you proved? He's like, look, I can play at the highest level. That's why I chose Penn State. I wanted to go play in the Big Ten. I wanted to catch balls from Sean Clifford, that really good wide receiver room. And I wanted to prove to everybody that, it's not just a fluke at Western Kentucky. I can play with the best of the best. So he's 6 foot, 207 pounds. Played on, like I said, the Western Kentucky's historic offense with 1,402 yards in his last season in 2021 and 14 touchdowns with Bailey Zappi. And then in 22, he went to Penn State, had 51 catches for 577 yards and 5 touchdowns. And the thing to remember about Penn State was they had Parker Washington, Mitch Tinsley, obviously a really good running back duo, but it was a tight end heavy, Theo Johnson, Brenton Strange. So there's just one ball, and it's going to a lot of guys. But I'm telling you, every time it seemed like Penn State needed a big play, Mitch Tinsley and Brenton Strange were like the top 2 guys that came up clutch in some of these big plays. But I really liked Mitch's game. I remember, and Condre Lambert-Smith, wide receiver 1 this year going into the season, was there as well. He's more of a deep threat speed guy. Mitch Tinsley, in my opinion, ran the best routes out of every Penn State player last year. Jahan Dotson, obviously, I think is one of the best route runners, especially that rookie class last year. I think Mitch Tinsley is up there. They're just a little bit different. And I had someone tell me the other day, man, this is so true. And people are going to think this is overblown, but I'm telling you, this really matches. Mitchell Tinsley is like a mixture of Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson style-wise. He has the route running and release package of Jahan Dotson, but he doesn't have the track speed. But he has the ability to get separation, the ability to run routes like Terry McLaurin does, and he's so deadly after the catch. No, I'm not saying this guy is going to be Terry McLaurin. No, I'm not saying he's going to be a Jahan Dotson. But style-wise, he picks a little bit for both of them. It kind of just combines the two. Bigger body guy like Terry, but he's slippery, super hard to tackle. I'm telling you, watch the Western Kentucky tape. Both times he played UTSA, he lit them up. Like I said, 1,400 yards in his last season in 2021. But the Purdue game, especially the first game of the season for Penn State, he had one play across the middle where got separation right away. He stacked his DB like he's supposed to, cut across the middle. The play before that, he called a screen, and you're like, all right, he's about to get like 5 yards or so. And I don't know how he does it, but he does it all the time. And he has his whole career. He just somehow gets past that one DB and he beats the safety. Like he has sneaky speed, but it's not like he's running like a 4.3, 4.4, something like that out there. He just knows how to get separation and he knows how to run after the catch. So I love his game a lot. They said the Draft Network said his best scheme fit. Tell me what this sounds like. A spread offense with RPO and quarterback run elements. That's Washington to a T this next season coming up with Sam Howell. Heavy RPO. Sam Howell loves the RPO. I think Eric Bieniemy is going to love the RPO with Sam Howell. And quarterback run elements. Sam Howell's going to run it. Y'all, I hate to tell you, he's going to run. And a spread offense with Eric Bieniemy. So I think wide receiver-wise, this is what you could be looking at. You got, obviously, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown. That's 4. You can go 6. Maybe 7 is a little too much. But you've got Mitchell Tinsley, Marcus Kemp, KaSmir Allen, and Bryson Tremaine, who's another guy who's a sneaky guy as well. I didn't include him, but he's like my honorable mention. Just because our new wide receiver coach came over from Stanford, has connections to him, obviously. He got paid a good bit, but still, I don't care. It's $100,000. Like, if he doesn't make the team, he doesn't make the team. So you have those 4 locks: Terry, Dotson, Curtis, De'Ami. Maybe you keep 2 more. So I'm saying KaSmir Allen is a return guy, Mitchell Tinsley as like that depth, super reliable hands, great catch radius. He catches everything. Auburn, fantastic 9 route, like a little fade to the right sideline against Auburn, at Auburn, by the way. In my opinion, I love his game. In my honest opinion, he is too good not to make the team. I'm telling you guys, he's going to go to camp. You're going to see videos. Local media is going to be like, yo, this Mitchell Tinsley guy is good. You know, it must be a number 5 from Penn State kind of thing. I'm telling you, you're going to see the tweets. You're going to see the videos. So let me know what y'all think. Didn't want to harp on these guys too much. Obviously, I went on a rant on Mitchell Tinsley because I love his game. Super good guy. I talk to him all the time. Like, I'm so excited like that he landed here. If y'all remember my mock drafts, every time like I was getting him in like the 6th or 7th round because I knew Washington was going to get a wide receiver, and him and Jake Bobo were like the 2 I really wanted late for Washington. So let me know what y'all think of these signings. Maybe you think there's a better chance that someone else gets signed over these guys. Maybe you thinking Bryson Tremaine from Stanford gets in over Mitch. Maybe you're like, I don't know. Xavier Henderson was a really good safety at Michigan State, just battled those injuries. Maybe he has a better chance. So let me know. This is a good list of guys. I can't remember the last time Washington signed was like 12 guys like that. And then they just brought in a tight end from Tulane as well. It was like Will Williams or something like that. So he's not on the list. So that's someone else to keep an eye after. I don't think he'll make the team. But still, let me know what y'all think of these signings. Appreciate y'all checking out the video. Hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 1.5K. I might do a little giveaway or something like that to celebrate. So I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all next time here on Taking Command with Josh Taylor. Peace.